Hey everybody, hope everyone's doing great this week. Welcome to Meta Market Weekly. I'm Justin along with our co-host Fernando. We hope you're all doing really well today. Of course, we've got an interesting show for you like every week. And let's kick it off. How you doing, Fernando?
Hey Justin, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So yeah, as usual, we're gonna have a great podcast. We're gonna be talking about the price of Bitcoin, how the market is doing, and then we're gonna be sharing some great articles. So let me start by bringing my TradingView profile. Awesome. Give me a moment. There we go. So as you can see, the last couple of days, there wasn't really a lot of movement. We've been ranging between 31K and 29K, which is very good because, we've been in this level for like almost a month. So the price of Bitcoin is holding strong right now. I personally think that it's gonna go down a little bit more. You can see here the trend lines that I traced. I think it's gonna go probably around this area, which is 28K. We can see I traced this trend line here, and it's starting to look like there's a pattern. So it is very, very, very possible. I would say like 95% possible that we're gonna bounce here. Also, if we really look at the RSI levels, so even though there hasn't been a lot of price movement, there's a lot of sell pressure. So that brought the RSI levels to, I believe right now we're at 43%. So they're very low, and this is positive. It means that we're just waiting a little bit more. Last time when we had the bounce, it was at 37%. So I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 more points to go down until the next movement on the way up. And yeah, so like I said, probably somewhere around here, we're gonna reach 36, 35 points. And then we're gonna see another bounce like the one we saw here, or like the one we saw here, or here. And it's always the same. If you look here, the bounce happened after we reached low levels, then it happened here again, and it's gonna continue to happen. So the RSI is a great indicator to know when it's time to buy. Not always to sell. To sell is a little bit trickier. You gotta use more indicators, and you gotta connect more dots. But for RSIs, it's when you're buying, I'm sorry, the RSI is usually a great indicator. And I actually wanted to show you guys some charts that I have here. So this is an indicator of the cycle from 2014 2017. So as I've said before, cycles are usually like 4 years. And right now we're looking at one of the previous cycles and the cycle right now. So as you can see here, there's a lot of similarities. We can see here that in the past we had some bounces, and then it went down, the bounce, and then went down, and it's starting to look like it's doing the same right now. So I'm expecting something like this to happen. Maybe here in this area, I don't think it's gonna bounce too little. I think it's gonna bounce maybe all the way down here. But this is a segment someone was showing me, and I agree with it. Just that here, I think it's gonna be a major correction, and after that, after the halving, we usually are followed by a bull run, or maybe not a bull run, but a bull market. That the bull run happens somewhere around here. And yeah, so everything's looking pretty well. The name of the game is just to be patient. Everything is painting out very nicely right now. So there's no need to panic, or there's not even a point to be thinking about selling right now, because we still got a long way to go. We're still missing about a year and a half, 2 years for the top of this cycle. And in this chart that I'm sharing right now, you can see that it's always the same. So the market at is somewhat predictable up to a point. The only thing is that, you got to be very patient. So we can see here, we can see previous cycles, and it's always 4 years. Well, maybe not the first one. The first one, I think it was 2 years, but it's because of, there was no standard for how the market behaved. But after that, it is always 4 years, and we can see that always there's a black swan event that drops the price, between 90 and 70%. And we're just doing what the market has always done. And I personally think, and a lot of traders will agree with me, a lot of professionals, I think that the worst has already happened. We can also see here at the monthly RSI, we already touched the bottom, and we're already getting far from it. So in my personal opinion, I think that everything's looking great. The market might get a little choppy every now and then, but everything's great. Like I said, the name of the game right now is just to be patient. And what I'm expecting is probably in August, we're gonna bounce. Maybe mid-August, we're gonna bounce here. We're gonna get to this next resistance level. If we're lucky, we might go all the way to the second major resistance, which is all the way up here. And then very likely we're gonna have a massive correction. So just like I was showing you here, yeah, so this is like around 46, 48K. And I personally think that we're gonna correct more than this small fraction here. I think we're probably gonna correct back to 30K. So, I mean, if you're an experienced trader, it's, be on the lookout, because you can double your position. If you don't know how to read charts and, use the RSI and all that, just hold. I mean, you have nothing to worry about, but there's also an opportunity for you to double your holdings, to get more Bitcoin by selling high and buying back low. So yeah, pretty much those are my thoughts for the market right now. And a lot of people have been asking me right now, what are my thoughts about this new cryptocurrency called WorldCoin. So for those of you who are not aware of it, this cryptocurrency, they're aiming to be like the new dollar. I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. And I personally, if you ask me, I see massive amounts of red flags everywhere. Just to let you know more about the project. So the CEO of this cryptocurrency is Sam Altman, which is the creator of one of the creators of OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT. So first of all, I don't like this guy. And the reason why I don't like him is because he and Elon Musk started OpenAI as a nonprofit organization. And then Elon Musk said that, he had to shift his attention to other stuff because he has Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, Twitter. So he has a lot going on. And he's like, hey, you know what? Take over the company. I trust you. And the moment he left, this guy sold the company. He put it on the market. So, I mean, it was supposed to be a nonprofit organization, and now you can buy stocks on the market. So, to begin with, that's a massive red flag and tells you what kind of person Sam Altman is. But don't take my word for it. Let's review the tokenomics for this project. So this project right now is valued at 245 million with a full diluted market cap of 28.9 billion. So, I mean, these are massive scam numbers. You can see here that the total supply is 10 billion. There's only 100 million in circulating supply. This means that only about 1% of the whole circulation supply is in circulation, which puts the full diluted market cap of the company at 22 billion. This is exactly what Sam Bankman-Fried did when he took FTX to bankruptcy. So he was his company was rated at an amount, maybe like a bill. I don't even remember, like 5 billion or 10 billion. And he was loaning assets because the full diluted market cap was like 2 or 3 times higher. So he was pretty much loaning money that he didn't have based on a valuation that's not even real. So if we take a look here, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like a complicated subject. But if we're taking a look here at the chart, we can see that they don't even make $1 billion worth of trading volume per day, and they value themselves at 22 billion. So this is, I mean, extremely red flags. I mean, if any of you are listening, I wouldn't invest not even a cent on this company, because the red flags are everywhere. And if we compare these companies' numbers to other cryptocurrencies, for example, Cardano, which is the 7th largest cryptocurrency, has a full diluted market cap of 14 billion. Then Binance, 37. So the numbers do not add up at all. Let's look at Cardano, for example. They have a circulating supply of 35 billion and a max supply of 45 billion. So they have like 80%, 75% of their current circulating supply on the market, which these numbers are good numbers. This is good. But these guys just have 1%, and they want to value themselves at almost 30 billions. So I personally would not touch this project at all. And forget about the tokenomics and forget about all that. They're putting orbs in several places of the world to scan your eyes, and they say that that's how they're gonna you're gonna have access to the wallet and get your digital identity and all that. And I personally think that this is a very, 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 very bad idea, because this guy is also the owner of the most advanced AI technology. So they can use this technology to program the robots, to I don't even know what they can do, with your digital identity with your eyes, but it can end up very bad. So I personally,
just because of that, I wouldn't be interested in this project, regardless of everything else you said.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw this movie, Minority Report.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like 20 years ago with Tom Cruise, how they blocked everything with your eyes, and I don't know. It just feels very, very related to that. And many red flags everywhere. So I would personally stay away from this project, and I wouldn't invest a single dollar at all. And like I said, if you invest in this in this project, chances are that you're gonna lose a lot of money, because once the market realizes that the market cap is way too off, the price of this coin is gonna start going down. So yeah, like I said, I would stay far away from this project. And I also wanted to talk about moving forward to the next topic. I want to talk about how the Fed just raised interest rates again by 25 points. I personally didn't think that this was going to happen, because we reached the highest level we've had in like 22 years, which got all the way here at I think it was, give me a second, let me tell you. So it was at 5.25. So right now, by increasing 25 more points, we just broke an all-time high of 22 years of interest rates. So I personally thought that we were gonna stay steady here for a couple of months. So that's not the case. The interest rates were just increased, and I mean, it makes me disappointed, because I was starting to feel like the economy is recovering. The cost of goods, the inflation rate just started to go down. And just to clarify, when the inflation rate goes down, that doesn't mean that the prices of food and goods are going to go down. No, it just means that the percentage in which it's increasing the price started slowing down. So the cost of goods is never gonna go down. And well, as long as we keep using the same economic system and the same leaders. I was seeing the other day that someone was saying that I think about 40% of all the people in the Senate and presidents and all that, they're all over 60 years old. And I mean, I personally think that once you reach 60 years old, you shouldn't be able to get any job at government. I mean, if you reach, I think like 65 or 70 years old, the only jobs you can get is at Walmart or stuff like that. So how is it that we have a 80-year-old president as the president of the United States? I mean, that doesn't make sense at all to me. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, man, it's all, it's all a part of this circus, psychological warfare that they've been perpetuating on the American people and people of the world for a long time. It's ridiculous, and as I say, I feel like I repeat myself every week, but we are the only ones who are going to change things, and I agree with you for sure.
We do repeat ourselves every week, but that's exactly exactly how it is. And we keep seeing more and more of the same every week. So I mean, we're just sharing the information as it comes. And I wanted to share this video with you and everyone. Very interesting. This is a guy. He's sharing some information regarding inflation and the Great Depression. So let me start this video. Justin, just let me know if you can hear the audio. I want to make sure that everyone can listen.
Okay.
Ruined. Yesterday I posted a stitch with Tom.
Were you able to hear it?
Yes, it's a little low, but I can hear it. Yes.
Let me increase it.
There we go.
Al Jr. about his landlord take, which has been a pretty hot topic in TikTok here over the past week. And in it, I stated that I make $70,000 a year, and I am still very much paycheck to paycheck, and housing is rough. In the comments of my own video, as well as just seeing it around TikTok as a whole, a lot of people are saying pretty much the same thing. I've seen people that are making six figures with no kids that are still living paycheck to paycheck. And it really got me thinking, why are we having such a hard time? Growing up, six figures is like, you made it. You're rich. You can buy whatever you want, whenever you want. You're never going to run out of money if you make six figures. So I decided to do a little bit of research. According to FDRlibrary.org, the worst year of the Great Depression was 1933, with 25% of the nation's workforce being unemployed. So for those that were working in 1933, what was their salary? According to the IRS, it was about $4,200. Yikes. Now, let's not forget that 1933 was 90 years ago. And we all know that inflation's a thing, especially in 2023. So let's see what $4,218 looks like in today's money. As you can see here, I pulled up an inflation calculator, and full disclosure, obviously the entirety of 2023 is not available yet, as we are only halfway through the year, so I couldn't get an average for 2023, so I went with an average for 2022. Now, this is the part that's going to ruin your day. It's so bad, I almost want to do a trigger warning. In order to be making an average amount that is on par with what the average American was making in the lowest depths of the Great Depression, in the year 2022, you would need to be making $95,000.
Yeah.
Inflation of over 2,000%. The reason that nobody can afford to buy anything is because we are literally making less than the people were making when this country was at its lowest economic point in history. If you took somebody from 1933 and you placed them in 2023 making the same rate adjusted for inflation, they would be making $25,000 more than I do with a bachelor's in engineering in a highly skilled trade field. But all we have to do is pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and get out of our own way, right?
That's crazy. What are your thoughts, Justin?
Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I mean, this is again the part of the psychological warfare against the American people and against the world with currency warfare. This has been going on for a very long time. And it's this boom bust cycle that only benefits the people that know about it, only benefits the high top Wall Street folks, the guys behind the scenes, the people that you've never even heard of, that are billionaires, trillionaires, and just are benefiting from this over and over and over again. This is one of the reasons why we are here. This is one of the reasons why Meta is doing what Meta is doing, because we want to see a currency all over the world that is actually backed by something again, that is actually inflation resistant, and isn't going to be, you aren't going to lose value. We've talked about this several times, where if you just, and I think everyone knows this that listens to the show, you keep money in the bank right now, you're literally losing money. And this is the reason why it's so important to be involved in alternative money, and to spread it across the globe, because we need to do something. We got to change. We got to get out of the system. Something we talk about all the time at Meta is, we're not trying to shut down the system that is now, et cetera, et cetera. All we're trying to do is create an alternative that's actually fair and honorable and transparent. And it's something that really hasn't existed in such a long time, and something that's very important. And it's why we fight every day, and it's why we wake up and we do what we do every day. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me, man. I mean, basically that means you need to make 100 grand in this country, in the United States, to be able to just survive. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of people in this country that make way less than $100,000 a year. So
No, and that's just to be at the level of the Great Depression. So imagine that. So you're gonna make 100K to be at the worst period of American history accordingly, because of course right now we're even worse than the Great Depression. The problem is that people don't study about money, they don't study about value, they don't really pay attention to what the government is doing, what the Fed is doing, and they're just going on with it. And one day they wake up, they're like, hey, why can't I pay for rent? Why can't I feed my children? And that's why the deep states just doing whatever they're doing, creating inflation. And of course we're all paying the broken plates. So I don't know, it makes me very, very sad to think about it. But let's move on to the next article that I wanted to share. So I think you had some thoughts on this, right? That the U.S. House Financial Services Committee passes a bill protecting crypto self-custody.
yeah, I mean, basically the gist of the story is that they've passed two bills, at least in committee, which is really not incredibly significant, but it's definitely a good step in the right direction. To help and clarify things in the crypto space. I don't know. I have a lot of different opinions about this. I don't have faith in the U.S. system, and I understand the very insidious and commercial nature of the U.S. system. So I just am concerned, because I'm not really a fan of regulation. I don't think that it does very well. But I also think that we need to have some kind of rules and boundaries, so that we don't have so much rampant crime and corruption in the crypto space. And so I'm still of the mind of kind of a self-regulatory idea, where the actual community worldwide is creating some kind of self-regulation body. I think that that's the most important and most powerful thing that we could do as a community. But I do think that this is interesting. Basically, the gist for everybody is that this bill was passed by committee, basically outlining that any project that has significant decentralization and is self-custodial, meaning that the exchange itself doesn't actually hold funds for custodially for users, then they wouldn't have to do any registration or anything, and they would basically kind of be exempt from all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I think that's a good step in the right direction. My question is with the current state of the Congress, I don't have very high hopes that this is going to get passed and signed by the robot in office. But I think it's cool, and I think that it's cool to think that this is something that could possibly happen. So that's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree with everything you said, and I think the government is gonna keep doing whatever it can to push these kind of bills back. But I know there's good people. I mean, not everyone's bad. Not everyone in the Senate is bad. Just like in Star Wars, you have like the Republic and the Empire. I think there's still good people in government. They're fighting, pushing back, trying to make to get our freedom back. And I don't know. I mean, the other day I got surprised by the outcome of the Ripple case. I personally didn't think that Ripple was going to win. They won. So I guess that brings me to a position of thinking that a war is being fought right now between freedom and being controlled. And there's good people fighting the good side. So who knows? Maybe eventually, this bill will happen. The other day, I was also seeing several other governors and senators that they were pushing a bill to ban CBDCs. So there's a lot going on right now, and as long as the people push, and they don't want these bills that control people. I mean, there might be something that we can do about it. The only thing is that we gotta wake up, we gotta inform ourselves, and not allow these people in control to just be in control of everything. So
Yeah.
that's my 50 cents.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I know that it's definitely not this black and white thing where everybody in the government is corrupt. And I know there's a lot of really good people. There's a lot of good people in Congress. There's a lot of good people in like, for example, these three-letter agencies. But it's just that beast, and it's does the good outweigh the bad? A lot of the times it doesn't. But yeah, I mean, I think that we just have to continue to advocate. That's I think the most important thing that everybody can do is educate themselves, educate their friends and family about decentralization, about blockchain technology, be involved in projects that you care about, like Meta One and what we're doing and others are doing, because we're not the only ones out there, that have great ideas. Yeah, and I think we just have to come closer and closer and closer to self-regulation. Because, unfortunately, as much as I hope this is not the case, what ends up happening with these bills is they get transformed so much when they get to Congress that they're not what they originated out to be, or there's a lot of like extra crap that they punch into these 5,000 page bills that nobody reads, that's really, really bad. They'll do something like these decentralized projects don't have to register, but all of the users on these decentralized platforms have to report their taxes on what they trade to the IRS. They'll do something crazy like that. So, I think that we have to obviously really pay attention, and then at the same time, we have to take action, and we have to come together and help to push the community to self-regulate. I mean, I think I've said this before on the podcast. My idea would just be, a rotating group of folks from within the community that were appointed to a committee of some point, a regulation committee that set out specific guidelines that specifically said, these are the guidelines for a project. You've got to have X, Y, and Z to have some kind of self-regulatory rubber stamp that says this is a legitimate project. Obviously, that would include a code audit. It would include, maybe doxing of the team members. Maybe not. There are some teams that like to stay anonymous, and I don't think there's a problem with that. Whatever that would be by the community. To set those guidelines, and then basically just run every project through those guidelines. And if we just had those self-regulating guidelines, I think that we would have a lot less rug pulls and a lot less of this crazy stuff that goes on. And I think that it would show the world that we as a community can regulate ourselves, because here's the thing, right? Is one of the biggest problems we have is the fact that that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is it's a global community, and it's a global experience. So you can be anywhere and access blockchain. That's the brilliance of it. So what we start to have in this collusion, in this like very, very colluded world, with all these fake false boundaries in countries, is that we have the United States doing one thing that's been very anti-crypto. We have someone else doing something else. We have some that are just like completely banning it. We have others that are pro-crypto. And so with all of this kind of very disjointed regulation all over the world, it makes it even harder to adopt blockchain technology. And I think what we have to realize as a society and humanity, and I think you and I agree on this, Fernando, is that blockchain technology can literally eradicate corruption. So we have to look at, what is it worth us to have all of this disjointed regulation versus putting the work together to actually have a self-regulatory body that can be global, so that we can actually have a standard that everybody can use all over the world, versus all of these governments doing these different things in which it's actually stopping the proliferation of blockchain that can result in eradicating corruption on this planet. And that's one of the reasons why they're doing it. That's one of the reasons why the US government does it, why other countries that have been so anti-crypto do it, because they realize that if they put pro-crypto regulation in place that is very, very simple and straightforward, then it would be game over for them. So that's my opinion. Obviously, it's not something that's going to happen just overnight. It's going to take a lot of work and effort and probably years of looking at these things. Yeah, I mean, I just think that I just don't think this can be treated as a country to country thing. I think it's like, this is a technology for humanity. Everybody on the planet is going to be using it one day, so we have to treat it that way. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. So
I agree. I agree entirely. And it's funny that what you were saying about, that they're still want to audit your transactions and all that.
yeah.
And I bring this article because it's very funny how it is, how the rules only apply for them. I'm sorry, for us, but not for them.
Yeah.
So this article, Senate blocks creation of oversight office to audit Ukrainian aid.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do an audit on all the money that has been sent to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because of course, all this money comes from taxpayer money. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw on the news the other day that by mistake they sent $10 more billion. I don't know if you saw it on the news.
I did. I don't think it was a mistake, but I saw that. Yes.
I mean, you don't by mistake send $10 billion, or maybe $5, $10, or whatever, but not $10 billion. So, so I just wanted to share with you guys. So this tweet from Watcher Guru, it says, in 2022, the U.S. Senate passed a bill to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to investigate citizens' finances.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the Senate blocked a bill to monitor and audit billions of taxpayers' dollars sent to Ukraine. So, just like I said, it's the rules apply only for us, but not to them, and it's ridiculous.
100%, man. Absolutely. You don't lose $10 billion. We all know what's going on. They all know what's going on. There's lots of laundering happening. There's lots of patting back, rubbing backs, all that kind of stuff. It's all, and this is why we have to take action. This is why this is so important. And, I think through a blockchain technology lens, if blockchain was implemented in the United States, and I think I've mentioned this idea before of having a internal US government blockchain where every let's just say every dollar that came in was converted to a, let's just say, let's call it US government coin. So this would be a coin that would be used, for every transaction and every dollar that was spent by the US government. And if there was an explorer that every US, every person from the United States could go on and see the transactions of all of the US government and 100% plain as day, then this wouldn't be happening right now. Because what they're literally doing is covering up their own corruption. They're covering up stealing, multi-billions of billions of dollars by sending it to the Ukraine. So this is why blockchain technology is so important.
We need it. So the Fed has never been audited in the 125 years since its creation.
Yep. Yep.
And Bitcoin gets audited every 15 minutes. Every time a block is created,
Yep.
it audits the whole system.
Yep.
So that's what we need for the government. But
Yep.
that's exactly why they're pushing against Bitcoin and all that.
Yep. 100%.
And hopefully, with all these new bills and people fighting for freedom, eventually things are gonna change. But it's just disappointing how they're gaslighting everything to our faces. They say something, but their actions are completely different. And finally, on this article, I just wanted to, the icing on top of the cake. So I'm very sure that you and all of our listeners, well, most of our listeners might be familiar with the case of FTX. So FTX, they were like the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, and they robbed their customers for like $20 billion. And just I think yesterday or today, they just released that prosecutors dropped campaign finance charge against Sam Bankman-Fried. So these guys stole about $20 billion of customer funds, and they're just dropping charges because I think he's the largest donator of the President Biden campaign. I don't know if he's the largest, but he's like between the top 3 largest donators. So pretty much what they're doing is by donating money to political campaigns, they're just buying get out of jail free cards, and it's ridiculous. Just more of the corruption of the U.S. government right now, and it's just very disappointing.
Yeah. Obviously, yes. I would definitely agree. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with this. But now I will say that at least from my knowledge and understanding, don't quote me on the number, but I'm pretty sure that he has like 10 or 12 cases against him. And so there's still a lot standing. So we'll see. But I agree with you. I don't have any faith in the U.S. justice system, and I definitely know that there's lots of stuff going on. I have my own theories about this. I think that Sam was doing a lot of laundering of money for Biden and others in the U.S. government through FTX. But yeah, man. I think the point here is that there's a lot of this darkness all over the planet. Obviously, we're probably living in the darkest time ever, but one of the things I was reminded of the other day is that there can't be darkness without light. And one of the most important things is to shine our light and continue to shine the light on these sorts of things. I think this is the important thing for our listeners to know, is the reason why we talk about this stuff is to bring it to light, and also talk about how we have already the solutions through blockchain technology with projects like Meta and others that are able to fix these problems. And so we have to continue to shine our light. We have to continue to stand up. We have to continue to educate ourselves. We have to continue to take action. And we have to continue to believe that the light is going to overpower the darkness, because it will. If you think about it, I know it's a very simple analogy, but if you're in a dark room and you turn a flashlight on, that darkness is gone. And this is exactly what things like blockchain can do, and is exactly what we can do. And the more that we stand up, and the more that we speak, and the more that we talk to our friends and family about this, etc., the more powerful it becomes. and the more undeniable it becomes. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing in my communities, I'm seeing in people that I wouldn't even imagine, waking up and realizing and just being fed up. I think people are sick and tired of the inflation stuff we talked about, and just trying to survive, and all of this stuff, and how the governments of the world are just absolutely running rampant without any regard for us. And honestly, as much as it's very sad to see, I also think that it's going to be the catalyst for the biggest change and the most good that has ever happened on this planet. And I think it's the most exciting time to be alive, and I think that we all have the power to make a major difference in this fight. So that's what I think. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I agree with you. And just like with the market cycles, I think life is just the same.
Yeah,
We have the age of darkness, the age of light, the
yeah,
age of renaissance. And it's all cycles.
yeah,
I feel like right now we're going through the last stage of that dark cycle.
yeah,
And after that, we're probably going to be, we're going to be in a new age of not just pure consciousness, but also technological major improvements, because we're going to have AI technology, we're going to have robots. Elon Musk is trying to go to Mars. So there's a lot going on right now, and I'm just happy to be here fighting for freedom. And yeah, I'm just very very excited to see what the future holds, and I have faith.